Hi, I'm Christy. Today I want to talk about how to avoid living in fear and paranoia. So, fear and paranoia, somehow these two things just kind of seem to go hand in hand with COVID and this whole pandemic thing. So much conflicting information, it's hard to know who or what to believe. And how do we make choices on things that are changing almost every day, it seems like? I know for myself, it was really easily to immediately react with fear and isolation. Nope, we're not going out. We're staying home where it's safe. Let's just hunker down and get through this. As time went on, though, and things continued to get worse before they started to get better, I realized that this is no way to live. Yes, we needed to be realistic. Yes, we needed to be cautious. But no, we didn't need to live in fear, what ifs, and paranoia. Now, I can head down that realm very quickly of, the one of what ifs, and I can let those drive me into fear and paranoia. I think it's almost my default way of living. And yet, as I've fought to get healthy, I've realized it's a very unhealthy way to live. Over time, I've slowly learned how to reframe those crazy thoughts into ones that are more practical and useful. Am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. But I keep working on it, and I give myself grace when I fall into the old patterns. Here's the thing. It's easy for any parent to jump into fear and paranoia, especially when their kids are little. We all long to protect our kids. We want them to grow up healthy and happy, and let's face it, it's a big, bad, scary world out there. And yet again, when you have a child with special needs who then grows up to be an adult with special needs, things are more complicated. There are so many more concerns, issues, and problems that your loved one has to face just to have a chance at a successful life. How can you not end up living in fear and paranoia? Now, if your loved one wasn't born with special needs, but somehow ended up with special needs somewhere along the way, I suspect it's similar and maybe even a bit more extreme and a little bit easier to rush into the fear and paranoia realm. And then when you add in all the craziness of this pandemic, well, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. I get it. Like I said before, I head down that path almost by default, unless I fight my natural tendencies. So, how do we change this automatic response? Well, I'm not sure that we can totally change it or make it go away 100% of the time. However, I've discovered a few things that help me stay off this particular crazy train, well, at least most of the time. First of all, choose to change. Now, that sounds easy, but trust me, it's anything but easy. However, it's also the first step on the path to becoming healthy, regardless of what you want to change. You have to get to the point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then you make a conscious choice to take your first step on a different path. Next, commit to change. Now, making a choice to change is relatively easy. Committing to making that change a new part of who you are, well, that's where the rubber meets the road. And when things get hard, when you want to revert back to your natural reactions, choosing to continue on the path to change is tough to do. I promise, it is worth the pain and the effort, though. Next, challenge a friend to hold you accountable. Find someone you trust who will call you out when you slip back into old patterns. Lovingly, gently, but with tough love if necessary. This is critical when you're starting out. Many times it's hard to see the first steps we take down that crazy path. If we have someone we trust who will call us out, we can stop quickly and learn to catch ourselves so we continue on the path to healthy living. Finally, continue to choose to walk away from fear and paranoia. Now, that sounds easy. And trust me, I know it's anything but in the moment. But I'm also happy to report that it does get easier as it becomes a bigger part of your life. Now, these days, I find I can often catch myself as I start to go down the crazy path, stop the thoughts, and choose to step out in faith onto a path away from fear and paranoia. Sometimes it's still a very conscious choice not to follow that path of fear and paranoia, even though I have no clue where the other path is going to lead me. I've learned to trust that almost anything that takes me away from fear and paranoia is a good thing and a better alternative. So I continue to choose to walk away from that fear and paranoia. And even if there is still some fear of the unknown that I have to choose to face down to walk that other path. Is it always easy? Not a chance. Am I always glad I did it? Most definitely, yes. It helps me to live a life that is less drama-filled, more peaceful, and more contented. Do I veer off the path occasionally? Yeah, I do. But the faster I get back on the path away from fear and paranoia, the happier I am. And when I'm happier and more at peace, so is my family. So I'm not seeing any downside to walking away from fear and paranoia. Are you? And that leads me to my question for this week. Do you struggle with fear and paranoia as well? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in October of 2021. I'm choosing daily to walk away from fear and paranoia so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.